Good afternoon, Cambridge Explosion listeners. Welcome back to another exciting episode. We are your hosts, Yawer and Nabil. Today, we want to talk about a global phenomenon that has kind of taken the world by storm. It's become a sleeper hit for Netflix. The new show, One Piece.
Mm.
And Nabil, I know you've been a long time fan and reader of this series.
Oh yeah, very long time.
So you actually told me you highly recommended this show to me. You told me that you think that they did it right. You said this to me a while ago, and I started watching it just because of the name factor, because it was an anime adaptation. I didn't really know much about it going in, but I paid more attention to it because you recommended it to me, and I think that really paid off.
Yeah, I would recommend this show to anybody, both in terms of reading the manga and watching the anime, plus watching the live episode, the Netflix show,
Live action.
the live action. Let's start off with my own history around it.
Yeah.
I discovered One Piece when it was already 400, 500 episodes in.
Wow.
And I watched all 400, 500 episodes over a period of 3 months. So
Wow.
one more episode was basically my mantra during that time.
Just have to keep going. Have to keep going. It's like a marathon.
It's like a marathon.
Yeah.
The manga and the anime themselves are brilliant because while their pacing is relatively slower to other animes, there is genuinely no filler content.
Uh,
It's the pacing is slower because instead of just focusing on action, there's a bit of comedy in there, so it allows for attention and release through the comedic pieces
and character development.
and character development as well. That's the other thing that I'll say. Um, the other reason that it's slow is that when a new character is introduced,
Mm.
they spend time to get to know the character.
Mm.
This is a great feature of the anime and the manga. So you've seen the live action. First, tell me about the live action. What were your initial thoughts about
Yeah,
it?
so this actually came kind of out of nowhere for me, and I didn't know anything about it, or I didn't know too much about it. I just saw that okay, this is going to be a new anime adaptation, and they're pushing it a little bit. So yeah, it might be worth checking it out. So I took a look at it. I watched the pilot, and the thing that struck me about it was that nothing really struck me about it too much. Like there was nothing that turned me off it,
Hmm.
but there was nothing that immediately drew me in like completely
Hmm.
into it. I felt ambivalent towards it, and I felt that okay, cool. So Luffy, okay, he seems interesting. He has a history, um, but I'm not yet sure if this is going to be compelling and if it's going to draw me in. And it was at that point where I was talking to you about it, and then you explained a little bit about it to me, and you said that they actually did it in a very interesting way, right? What exactly were you saying about that?
So the piece that I thought that was interesting to mention is that Cowboy Bebop was another anime adaptation done.
Right.
So was Dragon Ball.
By Netflix. No, so specifically by Netflix, Cowboy Bebop anime adaptation
Yeah.
was a big flop,
Yes.
right?
And part of it was um, certain characters which were written at a particular time and which were popular because of how they were in those episodes in those series had been sanitized for for Western audiences in terms of so in particular, as an example, Faye Valentine is supposed to be a very sexy character,
Mm.
and the way that she was presented in the live adaptation, they took some of that away to sanitize it to how Western audiences view how some of these things should be seen as compared to how it was originally done.
Is it because of? Are you saying it's because of political correctness?
I don't know if they did it because of political correctness, but that was the feeling that I got,
Okay.
which is a different thing than then they did it because of
Yeah.
it. But that's the feeling that I got. And they might have done it for a different reason, but the the two things were lost. One is a key element of the story within Cowboy Bebop was that Cowboy Bebop, Spike, um,
Spikes people.
he has this beautiful hot woman right next to him, but he's in love with and lost love with somebody else, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He cares as a friend, but not as a. And so that was part of what made the story interesting, and when you change that little narrative, it just takes a little of the tension out. It changes the story just a little bit, and it's enough to kill the show.
Mm.
It just takes the beauty away of the 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 sadness that Spike has inside of him that he hides from the rest of the team.
So I'll say I heard two interesting things about these adaptations, and the first interesting thing was that apparently the Cowboy Bebop adaptation and the One Piece adaptation were both done by the same studio.
Mhm.
First of all, so it seems like they really took different approaches to both of them. And the second interesting thing is that apparently the One Piece adaptation was closely controlled, and creative control was retained by the original manga creator,
Mm.
Eiichiro Oda Sensei,
Mm.
and he apparently forced them to redo and rewrite scenes which he felt were not within the original kind of um, character, or like within keeping with the original vision that he had for One Piece.
Yeah, and I can see that as well within One Piece. So um, this might be a bit of a spoiler if you're looking forward to if you've seen the live action
Yeah.
and are looking forward to seeing the anime from the beginning or the manga from the beginning.
Yeah.
So fair warning here, a little spoiler over here.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So in the live action, they do not include this character called Hachiman. Hachiman is an octopus who has 8 swords, one for each hand or something like that.
Okay.
Hachi stands for 8,
Uh-huh.
right? Um, and he is supposed to be the main antagonist against Zoro, who has 3 swords, 3 versus 8. That kind of is they completely took out that character. The
Okay.
character does make an appearance around 700, 800 episodes in again when
Right.
when there's another arc that is around the fish people, the fishmen.
Fishman.
Yeah, the fishmen people that happens. He does appear again, and again it's a minor role over there.
Right.
So there are changes that
Yeah.
have been made,
Yeah.
but the changes, because they were made by and were under the supervision of the person who actually knows the full story.
Yeah.
They are seamless. If
Yeah.
if I did not tell you that,
Yeah.
you would not know about this
Yeah,
from the live
exactly.
action.
And I actually went back, and after I finished the live action show, I went back and watched some of the scenes from the original anime, and the way that they redid them in live action and the comparison after having watched the live action version. I was struck by how, like, similarly they kept to how closely they followed the original depictions in from the anime of certain very key emotional scenes, and how, like, reverent the actors and actresses were about preserving those scenes, because and this is a common theme which I kept hearing throughout social media, which is that the casting was done absolutely perfectly.
Yes.
The actors and actresses, they fit like a glove with the characters.
And that's exactly it. That I completely agree with. Which I'm going to follow up with and ask you who in the live action so far is your favorite character.
That's an interesting. Okay, you know what? It's hard to choose. I would probably say Zoro.
Yeah.
Because he's like very like stoic kind of a character, and I like that.
Yeah, he's got that dark brooding hero,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of swordsman, and you can also see.
But he's also an idiot. So you can kind of like, it's kind of funny because he's got the brooding dark stoicism, but he's also an idiot.
Yeah, there's a continuous gag that
Yeah,
that you'll
yeah.
see happen is that Zoro has no sense of direction and always gets lost. that's a
That's hilarious.
that's a continuous gag in there. What about Sanji? What did you pick up about Sanji?
Sanji, I felt that no, and to be honest, like all of the depictions were great. I really enjoyed Nami,
Yeah,
the actress and the characterization,
yeah,
the way she played it.
yeah,
Sanji, I would say he's probably made less of an impact on me,
yeah.
but I still really enjoyed the work that the actor did, the way that he embodied the character. Not that I know the original characters from the manga or anime, I haven't followed them for the 1,000 episodes, but I felt that he did a really good job, Sanji, about just depicting that character.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
What do you feel about it?
Well, I think some of Sanji's character comes through in slightly
Yeah,
later episodes.
yeah,
The real introduction in the first arc is with Zoro and
yeah,
Nami.
right.
Sanji Zoro has the fight with the warlord.
Dracula Mihawk, yeah,
Yeah, that fight sets up his character in
yeah,
such a great way because
yeah,
if you follow the hero's journey,
yeah.
you know the hero must have and all these characters are
Oh,
heroes.
yeah,
So the hero must have a failure before they discover themselves, and
yeah,
Mihawk is the failure that happens that sets up Zoro's
Zoro,
character from here onwards, and that's the turning point of him joining with Luffy as well, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's just such a great setup over there. Uh, and Nami also has the setup complete where she's shown that the whole Arlong Park episode the story is about her
mm,
in one sense.
exactly.
It's
In a sense, this season is about Nami.
it's about
That's
Nami,
exactly. We
and
just didn't realize it.
we just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And when you look back, Sanji is probably not given his due.
Mm,
He's introduced, but he's not really set up with his and you will realize it as you go through the manga and the rest of the story
yeah.
that his setup does happen, but it just happens in a slightly different arc.
Right, right, right. So all of the characters have their aspirations and their goals.
Yes.
All of that is made very clear to us. Uh, Nami wants to do this. Monkey Luffy, Luffy wants to do this. Sanji, we know what he wants. He wants to find the All Blue and cook the greatest meal or whatever it is.
Yes.
But we're not, or at least I'm not sure what exactly he hopes to accomplish by doing that. Maybe it just drives him to be able to make a really legendary meal and become famous that way. I don't know. Because it's not really expanded what exactly that means. But so that's what I think maybe
Yes,
what you mean is that they didn't give him that due.
yes, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because as you go forward in Sanji's story, you realize what his family is about and what his
Mm.
background is about
Mm.
and why he wants to do this. Why
Mm.
why it's an element of rejecting his family.
Mm. Okay, I didn't know about this. This is interesting. So there's definitely more depth to all these characters. For example, actually, now that I come to think about it, Monkey D. Luffy, that he also wants to be a pirate. He has a dream and an aspiration. He wants to be a pirate. He wants to be king of the pirates. But there's a lot of mystery about him. There's a lot that we don't
Yes.
know. There's a reveal about him partway through the show between him and another character. I won't spoil it right now, but that hints that there's more background to Monkey D. Luffy than is revealed at first, and there's just it's very he's a very approachable guy, but he's also at the same time very mysterious.
So this thing that you're mentioning is present in the manga and the anime to this day.
Mhm.
And the story is that there's a relationship between people with the letter D in their name.
Mm.
It's Monkey D. Luffy.
Mm.
It's Roger D. Goal.
Mm.
It's Garp D. something.
Mm.
Uh, and there's a whole other bunch of characters who will appear who have the letter D in their name. And throughout the anime, up till this point and the manga, it is brought up again and again that, oh, these people, there's something to do with the D, and it's got to do with the prehistory, and there's something special about it, but they haven't revealed any of it.
Right.
And I don't think this is a spoiler, by the way, because I'm not revealing what it is either. It's
Right.
just that you just want to watch out with characters with the name D in there, because they tend to
Yeah.
be even on the bad side. So they're not just on the good side, they're on the bad side as well.
So it's interesting that you would say that it hasn't been revealed, but it's been like what, more than 1,000 episodes of the manga and the anime,
Yes.
and even after all this time, there's an air of mystery
Yes.
that keeps pulling people in. I'm reminded of the Arabian Night stories, Thousand and One Nights, about the princess who uh, married the Arabian king who would marry a new princess every night and then execute them the next morning. But she kept telling him a story with a cliffhanger ending every night. So he would have to keep her alive to find out what happened the next night.
Yeah. It's a very similar kind of effect that
Yeah.
it keeps pulling you in. It keeps wanting you to know the next arc
Yeah.
and figure out a little bit. And it's not the only mystery that is set up. As
Yeah.
you go through, you will find that there's two, three other related mysteries that are set up about the prehistory. So
Interesting. So there's a history, there's a world building, there's character building, there's character motivations. All
Mhm.
of these come together. The story has been masterfully told by the manga creator over the past like more than 2 decades, and it's the biggest cultural phenomenon in Japan. Kids there grow up with this story, and even if they're not anime watchers, they know about this particular anime and manga.
yes, and now you can also call me a One Piece expert.
Yes, I'll call you over whenever I need some One Piece expertise.
uh,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next season.
same
I think this
same
will be
here.
confirmed.
Same here.
So,
I think this is gonna be, when Game of Thrones had its
Yeah.
initial run, the
yeah,
second season was when people really went like, oh, this
Yes.
is really good.
that's when the massive scale started happening.
Yeah, and
Scale up.
so that's kind of what I expect with this as well. That it's the second season where it's gonna be really really gonna pick up, and start having a major influence on other shows as well.
You know, the funny thing is, I actually watched another Netflix show. This actor who played Monkey D. Luffy, Iñaki Godoy, he's actually been involved with Netflix for a while now, and he's done another show called The Imperfects. And I didn't actually even put it together at the time because I watched The Imperfects, and he played a particular one of the characters, and I didn't put two and two together that this was the same actor who played Monkey D. Luffy in
Oh wow,
movies.
yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. We're gonna keep diving into deeper into some of these shows, because they're pretty interesting in terms
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
how the live adaptation is done, both in terms of this, but also we're gonna cover some
The
of
art of storytelling.
the art of storytelling and the technology that goes
technology.
behind it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We covered a bit of One Piece.
And we hope that you keep tuning in for more interesting conversations.
Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Cheers.